All right, well, I'll give my typical spiel. So John Pinkster, one of the engineers here at Maestro that have brought you the Mighty product that you all love and enjoy. Excited to see on this call today, we've got a wide spread of newbies getting in, haven't maybe tried Mighty out yet and are just excited to learn about it. And then some of you who've been using Mighty for forever and are excited to learn about some of the new features. We did post out into our Maestro community that we are doing a little bit of a change up this month on our Mighty Meetup. Typically, we've got a community spotlight where we pull in a community team member who is working on some fun projects, and we have them show and tell how they're implementing Mighty into their courses. But this month, there is a lot that we're about to drop, and I just wanted to spend a full 30 minutes just walking through all of that functionality, open up to questions, thoughts that you guys might have before then diving into more of our product demo that we kind of do at the end. So super excited to see and hear your guys' reactions because I'm very excited about these things that we are rolling out here very soon. And I think that's about it. I also love to just do a quick little shout out for our Maestro community. So for anyone who's not in Maestro community, this is our space where we talk about all sorts of e-learning things from designing and articulate to just general questions about like learning principles, best practices. So if you're not in Maestro community yet, there's a lot of great resources in here. You'll notice throughout today, I'm going to jump back and forth into between the Mighty users space as well as our code catalog, because we're going to talk a little bit about some of the coding side of things. Just very easy to grasp concepts that we talk about, as well as whole built out solutions of all sorts of like fun hacks and mods and stuff that you can do inside of Rise. So super excited to walk through all of that with you here in just a second. Getting into our agenda, as you can see, we've got a couple of fun things that we are releasing. And by a couple, I mean these are pretty huge changes that we're making, which are very exciting. And I'll walk through each one of these as we go. The first one is our preview quick reload, which you'll see what that is in just a second. We also have, with our rich text editor, we now have an advanced mode, which is super fun and exciting, allows you to really get into the weeds if you want to get into the HTML and do some more modifications there. We also have the custom code snippets, which will be a whole new spin on how we've done custom code historically. And this is going to be a game changer for many of you who are drowning in all of your custom code throughout your courses and need a little organization in your life. And then last but not least, a Mighty desktop app that we're about to roll out with. So some huge things that we're dropping here. So super excited to have you all. Let me just dive in. So getting into the preview quick reload functionality. So a lot of you may have been involved in the Tim Slade challenge where he urged many of you to work on a Rise course and specifically think about mobile functionality first. And building out your Rise course, does this thing perform well with mobile? So we participated in this challenge. I know many of you participated in that challenge. And one of the things that we had found with our internal team is that people would come into the course and authoring and make changes and then jump to the preview side. They would go to the mobile portrait view and they would go to like, let this thing load up and see what it looked like. And then they would go back into their authoring, make some changes, jump back into preview. And it was just kind of this like huge time-consuming process to go back and forth. And so I throw out the suggestion to that team member of just like, hey, why don't you just open up two windows and you can stack those side by side, have your authoring kind of over here on the left window, and then do your preview on the right, and which is great. That worked out well for her. However, whenever she wanted to see changes, she still had to sit there and reload all of Chrome in order to see those changes, which you can see takes a while for all that to render. But all we really needed to do was we just needed to get this little section right here to reload. So now what you can do is just jump into preview and hit this quick reload button. So while you're authoring your course, as you make changes, uh, we'll just say change, and then I just hit the quick reload button. You now immediately are going to see those changes here. So as you're going through your authoring experience, especially if you want to see what it looks like on mobile, because authoring that on mobile size is like either one, not possible, or two, just like really hard to do with all of the authoring things that happen. This is a really great layout for many of you where you just got like a small side window and you want to just quickly see your changes. Just click that quick reload button. It'll automatically reload. The other fun thing about this is it keeps you at the lesson you were on. So if you've gone through your course, and let's say you've got 15 lessons and they're gated, and you just need to, on lesson 8, make some changes and see those changes reflected. Again, that's where the quick reload is just going to reload where you were in your course. So it'll keep you on that lesson. It won't necessarily keep you scrolled down to where you were, but it'll keep you within at least the lesson that you are viewing, which is kind of fun. So I think that's going to save many of you a lot of time as you're working on proofing your course in this preview mode before you ship it off to kind of your reviewers, either in Review 360 or publishing it out into your LMS. So excited to see y'all leverage that. The next thing that I wanted to walk through, and yeah, I see a lot of love for that one. That one's a good one. The next thing that I wanted to talk about, unless Sid, you've got something to tell me real quick.
Nope, good.
All
I'm
right, cool.
appreciating the love too in the chat.
Yeah. So the next thing that I want to talk about is advanced mode for RTE. So many of you have gone through our transitions or even just general Articulate's transitions of their rich text editor and what you could do with the old rich text editor and kind of hacking your way into right clicking, inspecting. And there were ways that you could like change up some of the HTML inside of here. And the way that Rise had it for many, many, many years is that they would just let you do that. It didn't really care what you changed there, but you do have the full rich text bar experience. Mighty came in, a year and a half ago, and we introduced this idea of like viewing the code editor. So that way you can at least bypass the whole right click, inspect, look at this other window, make changes there, and like try to get that to save. We gave you this option to actually be able to see all the code, make your changes, do the thing that you wanted to do. Um, in our evolution and following Articulate, they moved to another version of this rich text editor, which stripped out any of those changes that they don't accept as a part of their rich text. So the hack that we had just didn't work. And we followed suit. We utilized a similar rich text under the hood that they're using, but it put a lot of, again, constraints on all of you who you came to Mighty and you want to be able to like release the shackles and do all the things that you want to do and build this like custom fun experience and not be restricted to the bounds of what Mighty or Rise is kind of applying to you with the rich text editor. So that's where we get into this fun advanced mode. And here's my example that I want to walk through, because this one I know has hit home for some of you, is that right now you'll see on my cover page, I now can drop in a video onto my cover page. Could be an image, could be audio, could be whatever you really want it to be. And the way that you're able to do that is, again, you go into this advanced mode. So let me go ahead and just clear out of this real quick. You'll just highlight your text just like normal. There's the rich text bar that shows up. And then inside of the code editor mode, all you have to do is just turn on advanced editing. Oops. Let me reload here. Sorry, I've been playing a little bit before I jumped on the call. Let me fix this up. There we go. So now we've got the advanced mode. This is turned on. And then at this point, what you can do is you can really do any HTML that you want to do. So if you've got a custom element that you've built that you want to utilize inside of your course, you could do that. If there's data attributes where you want to like do something specific, maybe our anchor tags that we originally released where you could do like anchor X, Y, and Z. And then we would apply all those anchor links for you. So like there was all these other videos that we had made to do that type of work. But then in this situation that we kind of rolled into here, what I had shown is you can just take out of YouTube, like if I just go to YouTube, our Maestro YouTube channel, we could grab a video. We'll quickly pause that, hit the share, go to embed, grab the iframe out of here. And then in this advanced mode, once you paste in that iframe, it will automatically get pulled in and do whatever you need it to do. So this is where you could do a lot of custom HTML development inside of uh, all sorts of areas in which you use rich text. So I'm showing this example here on the cover page, where normally you can't add media to your cover page, but really inside of anywhere inside of your course that you've got any of the rich text functionality, and that goes nested inside of the accordions. All of these now have this ability to go into advanced mode where at this point we've broken out from it being a rich text experience to now you have like signed up to be, hey, I'm a developer. I'm going to do development related things, muck up all the HTML inside of here. And like, this is good to go. What is here is what I want it to be. If you ever want to make adjustments to things and then you need to switch back and forth between advanced mode and rich text mode, like let's say as an experience, you wanted to bold the word collaboration. You could simply do that by turning off the advanced mode. We'll give you a warning that just says, hey, FYI, this may strip out some non-supported HTML, which you can just say, yep, I acknowledge. You could even copy your code first, save that off to the side, switch back to the normal rich text experience, bold the word collaboration, and then, okay, cool. I'm going to go back now into code edit mode and then make all of my additional adjustments here in that advanced mode. So it gives you, again, a lot of that freedom to go back and forth between just using the rich text editor, which has all of its restrictions for security and all the great reasons that it has that, versus just blow out into your own thing and just be typing in HTML that you want to utilize inside of your course. So, um, so yeah, that just shows at a high level, some of the ideas. I know a lot of your minds are already spinning into like, oh my gosh, I've wanted to do X, Y, and Z. So as soon as this rolls out, which I'll talk about here probably at the end of this, when are you going to get all this? Once this is available, you'll certainly be able to turn on the rich text mode, turn on advanced mode in there and start adding all of your things. I am very, very curious as to what things you guys come up with because you constantly surprise me and all these fun ideas that you come up with. And I would imagine some of you are going to show me something and then I'm going to immediately pull you into our next meetup to be in our community spotlight because that's how it goes. So again, very excited to see what you guys are going to come up with there. But as a great example, I know many of you have wanted a little bit more rich experience here on the cover page. So here's a great example of like embedding a YouTube video, or you could add images now inside of any real rich text area. So that one's a fun one. Just quickly looking through comments, nothing jumps out at me. So I'm going to move on to the next big change that we're making, and that is the custom code section. So as you know, the way that custom code has worked in the past is, and in fact, maybe I'll just bring this up real quick, is that there is the ability for you to just jam a bunch of code inside of your course, but there's no organization to any of that. And so as you get into custom code the old way, it's just all of your JavaScript, all of your CSS that you found either in our code catalogs or that you've personally written or your development team has written. And maybe you've got like comment lines to kind of keep some organization on all of that. And what we've done now is we've allowed you to organize those into what we're calling custom code snippets. And then custom code snippets not only help you organize that code, but it is a whole nother level where you can actually even scope that code down to either a specific block or a lesson or your entire course. So the reason that that's cool, and I'll show this here in just a second as I break out some things, is that many of you, and especially in our code catalog, we have talked about like, hey, if you want to make a specific change on a block, you need to go and like hunt down a block ID, and then you need to use these things called mutation observers, which you've probably maybe seen, maybe didn't care about, but like there's a specific way that you have to run code on a specific block. With our new code snippets and scoping them to blocks or lessons, we will do all that work for you under the hood. You just write the code that is applicable to that block. So here, as an example, let me just go into my course, and I want to update something specific to this continue button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this to be for a specific block. And now here I've got the ability to just like select that block to add it as a part of the list of changes that we want to make. You could also still just hunt down the block ID inside of your normal lesson, paste that in, which I'll show an example of that here in a second. Paste that in and not necessarily have to hunt it down in the preview, because I know many of you have gated courses to get there, but you can just choose your specific block that you want to target. And then from here, what we could do is we could just add our own. So we're going to add the background color to be red. And you're going to notice that that only applied now to this block here. It doesn't apply to any other block that has buttons, which maybe is unfair because this lesson doesn't have any other buttons. But if it did, none of them would change. It would just be specific to this block here. Um, I know, Karen, you've got a question.
Yep.
Do you want to go ahead and throw that out? Just pause me.
It's probably simple. It's probably a stupid question actually, but um, let's say you already have code in there, and
Yes.
you go and you get new code. Where's the best place to paste it? At the very top? Like, do you start at number one, or do you scroll down to the bottom, hit a couple of blank rows? I'm not positive where to put the code.
Yep. So that is where these snippets will come into play, is that, well, one, to address anyone who's written custom code in your course already, we will auto migrate those for you. So you're going to start out with an existing code snippet that is just for your course wide, and it's going to have all of your code there. And then from there, to kind of answer your question, Karen, you can start to just break out all of your code to be their own separate snippets, and you don't have to worry
Ah,
about where the order of which they show up in. You can just kind of display those wherever you want. So yeah, I saw that question. You had your hand raised. I kind of figured maybe someone was going to ask a question about migration. So I wanted to address that real quick first before I dive in further on showing off examples of this. So yeah, great question on that. And then also the order of your snippets, they don't really matter. They'll all be separated out and handled accordingly. So what I want to show off is a lot of your favorite confetti drop and how you would actually break down the confetti drop now based on how snippets work. And we'll try to do our best to come back through and update some of the code catalogs. You could still just create a general course snippet and not worry about being block specific or not. But what I want to show off is how you could take this concept and then apply it to other snippets here in the future. So as I look through the code here, we have more or less like two overarching things that happen. The first is that we have this confetti library that we're leveraging called Canvas Confetti that we are going to add to our course. And we just need it there once. We don't need it there per block. It just needs to exist as a part of our course that we import in. So I can add this in to our custom code as a general entire course scoped code snippet. So we're just going to go ahead and paste in this append script function, and then this is going to run. So what this will do is as soon as our course loads, it'll add in this JavaScript into our course. So that way we have the ability to fire off confetti within our course. The next thing that the code library does here with this function is this is the function that you would use to actually explode that confetti on your screen, which is a reusable thing. We don't necessarily need every block to know that. And so this is what I'm going to show you, that you could actually just take this function and add into this entire course snippet. we've got this function here. And then what we could do is we could scope this to our window, and we'll just call this drop confetti. And then this just is our drop confetti. And some of you may not be following, but some of you that are following are like, oh my gosh, this is blowing my mind. So I just want to show this because this is, again, kind of more of an advanced fun experience. So we've got this like global thing that we can now called drop confetti that we've added to our course. So this is going to be like add confetti library is what I'm going to call this snippet from an organization perspective. So we'll go back to our list of code snippets. We've got this add confetti library snippet that exists. And now what I can do is for a specific block, and specifically, I want to add this into this first lesson block right here. I'm going to add in the code that you would use to make this block throw confetti as soon as it's clicked. So we're going to go back to this custom code. All of this mutation observer logic you can just ignore. We don't need it. And like I mentioned, we'll probably update our specifically probably this one and many other of our code catalogs reflect code snippets here soon. But all we need is really this section here of code that we need to paste into the JavaScript tab. And what we're going to do is we're going to, for this specific block, which I'm going to copy this block ID, we are going to get that button that is inside of here. And when that exists, we are going to call the window.dropConfetti. And that's all we now need to do specific for this block to fire off confetti. And if you need other sections of your code to throw confetti, this is all the code you would need to do is just go and do the, like, is it because you're clicking a button? Is it because they get to the end of a knowledge check and they passed it? Is it because they finished out a quiz? Like, what is the thing that causes confetti to fly? And it's just going to call this general function of window.dropConfetti, which we know is going to be the thing that throws confetti on your screen. So this will be a block specific. Well, we can call this like our continue button confetti. We'll go ahead and save that. We're going to go over to our preview mode. And when we are in here, we're just going to go down to this button, click it, and there's our confetti that happens. So again, the way that I've now broken out my snippets, I'm very organized. I've got a snippet that just adds my confetti library. And then I've got a snippet that specifically adds confetti to a continue button. The other fun thing is like, let's say you want to test out some things, but you're not really sure if you want to go live with it yet, but you don't want to lose the code. You can also just go in here and disable it and keep that code kind of reserved for you to come back to later. So this is kind of another fun way where you can like create snippets, play with them, keep them there, but deactivate them. You can also duplicate them. There is the ability to like readjust their order. I had said that order doesn't really matter. For most of you, it really won't, but there are some things that could matter in regards to organization of CSS where they like override each other, or you need a specific JavaScript call to run before another. So the organization of those can matter, but for most of you, you could really just lay them out in whatever order you want to make them and not worry about adjusting their positions at all. So yeah, this is a big change. As you can tell, I'm super excited. The nerd in me is just like, allows me now to take all of these fun things that I've seen many of you do / I've done as well. And I can create the organization that I would get as if I was doing my local development, as well as this is a whole nother door opener for us to organize our code catalogs to make it easier for you all, because we can now just tell you like, hey, here's snippet number 1 you need to make. Here's snippet number 2 that you need to make. And it keeps it all bundled and organized. And you don't have to worry about, and this is kind of Karen where you were starting with, of like, I've written a ton of code. I think I still kept my, oh yeah, here it is over here. Like I've written a ton of code inside of here and it's like stacking on top of each other. And like, you're asking me to add a code catalog to this thing and I want to add it, but I have no idea where to put it. It's like, well, great. Don't worry about it anymore. Just add a new snippet and you're good to go. You don't have to think about how that fits in with everything else. So yeah, That is code snippets at a super high level.
Looks like Lee had a question that Bandigan talked through with him in the chat, and then Jackie had a follow-up as well about creating with AI and the prompts needed.
So are the code snippets accessible across courses? And then across users? That's the question?
I think Sean Bannigan answered that one
Oh, okay.
in the
Sorry.
chat, but if you go to the one below from Jackie.
Yep. Nice. Um, no, Jackie, to your question, so she's asking about like she's creating all this with AI. When she's prompting AI to generate the JavaScript or CSS that she's putting into custom code, is there any different directions that we need to give it? And the answer is no. Um, I would not worry about giving it different directions. Now that I say that, unless if you are doing something specific to a block, I think what I would probably add to that prompt is saying that Mighty has code snippets that are scoped to a specific block in case if it tries to continue to do this whole like mutation observer functionality. So that is a good question. I don't know if we've played much around yet with AI and giving it instructions like that to see what's came back yet. So that'll be very interesting as some of you are doing that and modifying some of your code snippets to share some of those best practices. Because yeah, I guess I could see specifically once you get into the scoped for blocks or lessons, maybe ChatGPT, Claude, etc., would give you more code than you actually need. So that's a good call out.
Maybe that's a good YouTube video follow-up.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
We could post something for. Yeah.
Yep. Um, we've got the question about when will this be live? So I'll throw this out now that we are wrapped up with the functionality for the preview. So to kind of go back to this list here for the preview quick reload and the advanced RTE mode, as well as the Mighty desktop, which I haven't covered yet. We'll cover that here in just a second. Those are ready to go. We're going to submit things either tonight or tomorrow to get that shipped in our Mighty 6.0 release, which I would imagine, based on typical review times from the Chrome store, that you'll probably see that Thursday or Friday released. The code snippet work, there's still a little bit more that we want to polish up there, but we will shortly follow up with that. I would imagine by end of this week, we may submit a release, or sometime next week, submit a release, and then that would be available in the next 2 weeks. So come the beginning of September, all of this should be available within our 6.0 release, as well as like a 6.1 release to get the code snippets finally in there. So last but not least, Mighty Desktop. This is super exciting for us because, as I just said, in order for you to get access to this code, you have to wait for Chrome to approve and release our extension. But if you go to our Mighty portal, you will now see for anyone who's in our early access group, and if you're not in our early access group, there's an easy way to join that. If you go to our Mighty users space, there is this pinned post here about joining Mighty early access. And in here, I'm going to drop a note shortly after this meeting that talks about the Mighty desktop. But anyone who's in the Mighty early access crew, if you just go to mighty.meisterlearning.com, you're going to now see our ability to install the Mac app. Now you're going to immediately say like, oh no, I'm a Windows user. How do you support me? Windows is coming. There's extra security steps that we need to take for Windows. And we're going through all of those processes now in order for us to get you the right signed executable that you can install and then utilize on your desktop. So for anyone who's got a Mac that you are doing all of your development on, that's available now. We've already got that up and running. You can go and grab that. And then once you install the app, which I'll just pull over my toolbar here, you'll see the Mighty app icon. And basically the way that it works is we are taking a Chromium browser, which is what Chrome and Edge run on, and we're shipping that with the bundled version of our extension. And so what will happen is as we push out releases, you will get a notice at any point letting you know, like, hey, Mighty's updated. We're going to go ahead and pull the latest version for you. If you want to check to see if you have an update available, you can go ahead and up to this help icon, go to check for updates, and then it would let you know if you're either on the latest or not. And if you're not, it'll go automatically pull that. So this is our way to rapidly release new features, new bug fixes, things like that to you, as well as we'll continue to support the Chrome extension that's out there. It's just if you want to get access to all the features faster and not have a couple of day delay, this is how we will go about deploying those. So as I mentioned, right now we've got the Mac app available. I don't have an ETA exactly on the Windows app for everyone. My hope is that we get through the rest of the security certificate reviews that we're going through right now, and that would be approved by end of week. But I will keep those updated inside of this early access channel to let you know once that Windows app is up and running. And then once both of those are up and running and installed, like I mentioned, it will just, like you've seen before in the notices of updates, you'll just get an update right here in your window that lets you know that the newest version of the Mighty desktop app is available, and it will automatically install that for you. And there's really not much else that you'll need to do. So once you're in here, I mean, this is really a Chromium window under the hood. It really just directs you immediately to the Rise product, lands you on your landing page. And then from here, it's as if you were just in Chrome or Edge. You just go in, you do your, you jump into your different courses, do all the things that you need to do. So for anyone right now who wants to go and pull the latest version of our Mac app, I mean, it's got all of the 6.0 functionality that I talked about with advanced mode and then the preview quick refresh. It's all here already bundled in this. So you don't have to wait the 2 days. You can start playing with that now. Again, apologize. Don't shoot the messenger on the Windows. I know many of you are Windows users. That's coming. It will happen very, very soon. So,
Some good questions here in the chat, Pinkster, if you want to check it out.
yep, the Windows requiring admin permissions to install and update each time. I don't know if I am qualified to answer that question for everyone. I think it just depends on what your permissions are on your like Windows profile. So some of you may not be able to use the desktop app at all. Some of you have reached out or at least had your IT reach out in the past and say, hey, do you have an installable versus the Chrome extension that we could just distribute? So this could be a different path for you. I am curious, Sid, you were the one that asked that question. If you do run into issues once we get the Windows version out there, reach out to me and let me know if you run into permission issues there. And we can certainly see what on our end we could do to help alleviate those. You will have the normal like install prompts where you can decide where it's installed and who all it's installed for. Is it escalated just to you or to the entire computer? Things like that. So hopefully giving you access to that type of settings would allow you to maybe get by some more global permissions, but it's been a long time since I've been on Windows, so I'm not entirely sure how that will work. I'm just reading through some of the other questions. Yeah, the Firefox extension, Jennifer, love that you keep asking that. Still no movement on that one. Trying to think of anything else. Feel free, anyone, we're now at the point of Q&A, so feel free to also, anyone who's got questions, to unmute as I read through the list of comments. I know I just shared a lot. Anyone have any questions on anything that we have talked about in regards to either advanced mode, snippets, quick reload, desktop app, anything even general about Mighty. Doesn't even have to be about these releases. I do see a question about, will the desktop app contain any new or different features from the Chrome extension? Nope, they will stay in parity with each other. We will just, I mean, the one thing that you'll get out of the desktop app is that you'll get things delivered faster. So you'll have all the latest and greatest updates. So as Rise makes changes and we've got to follow up with a fix here and there, you'll get those immediately. Usually we solve those within an hour or two and then have to wait for Chrome to approve it after 24 hours or so. So all of those outages that we've had, you'd be able to skirt by those super, super quick. I'm trying to think of, Jackie, your question about anytime a WYSIWYG HTML editor that would work in Mighty and what exactly that's referring to. I don't know if you want to unmute and share thoughts there.
Hi there. Yeah, just really. So quite often when I write code with AI, ChatGPT and Claude and whatever, and then quite often I'll have to open Dreamweaver and open it up and play around with the code myself. And I was wondering, at any point, would you sort of embed some sort of, HTML editor, with a split screen so you could see code and see the live view
Hmm.
built in within the Mighty itself? Because
Yeah,
sometimes trial and error when you publish, especially with the HTML block, and you publish it and then you upload it and then you look at it and it's like, okay. But sometimes if you could tweak it before you even get that far, it would save time. I don't know, just thinking out loud, really.
yeah, no, that's cool. I know this code view slash even the advanced code view has the ability to see all your changes. Like as I'm going through and typing in the HTML, like it does reflect all of those up above. But I hear you in the sense of just like even more broadly being able to do that across your course. But yeah,
I
right
think
now,
she's talking about, John, I think she's talking about like the interactive HTML too, like building something and then having to upload it into Rise and see it and then go back and have AI make changes to it and like
oh
that
yeah,
iterative process.
yep, oops, yeah. Yeah, is this what you're referring to with these zips and being able to like modify the HTML here and see the
Yeah, so sometimes when you give prompts and things and it still doesn't get it right, and sometimes it's easier just to open up Dreamweaver and
right?
mess around with the code yourself. Whereas it just would be really cool if there was something built in that kind of did something similar.
Yeah, yeah, that's an awesome idea. I know we've talked about similar thoughts and ideas of things that we could do, especially with the interactive HTML blocks and how you could kind of do more of that live preview. So yeah, I think down the road, certainly there's some ideas that we've got there that I would imagine we'll move forward on. I don't really have a whole lot to share there at this point, but conceptually that idea of being able to just like quickly go through and make changes to your interactive HTML files and not have to download them, change them, re-upload them, see how they work inside of your course. I think that would certainly be an avenue we could explore.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant. Thanks for that. Thank you.
Yeah, nice. Well, if no one else has any other questions, um,
Did you see the one from Lee and Charles Pinkster? Lee had a clarification about advanced RTE.
okay. So yeah, you were asking like as we make changes. So I think if I even go back to this cover page, it's like if I go into the advanced mode and I make some changes that are a little bit more advanced, when you switch back to the rich text, what it will do is it will just evaluate everything that you had added during advanced mode and it will remove those. So if you make any changes to um like custom elements or an iframe that you drop in or an image block that you drop in, all of that would get stripped out before switching back to that rich text mode. So yeah, you want to make sure to save any of that.
Is that block
Before,
by block, the advanced mode switching, or is it?
yeah, it'd be block by block. It would
Okay,
not do it everywhere. Yep. Yeah. So you're safe in regards to just this specific area being modified.
cool. Thanks, John.
Yep. You're welcome. Jennifer, you got a question?
That wasn't so much a question, just something for Jackie, and she was talking about Dreamweaver. What I do when I get something from Claude, it's the I copied into the Notepad++ text editor. I can make changes, hit Control Save, and click on the same file in Explorer because I use Windows. And it opens it up in Firefox, my default search thing, and I can see immediately if that's right or wrong. I can Control Z to get rid of it or add more, and it's just really, really quick. There's nothing except Notepad++ to open up. So that might be another option for Jackie rather than having to wait for Dreamweaver to do its thing.
Yep.
Just a suggestion.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
Cool,
Yeah.
thank you.
Nice. Charles, to answer your question about seeing drop shadow options on transitions, I'm assuming you're referring to specifically like the transition block and being able to add drop shadow to those. And that is a cool idea. I've not heard that before. We could certainly explore some options there. I know
It
obviously.
just,
Okay,
I was just going to say it would help soften some of those edges.
yeah, that's a fun idea for sure. We could certainly explore that as a team. Love that.
Eye candy.
Yep.
Pinkster, there's one question just about like learning more about the AI agent interaction stuff that we explored in last month's Mighty Meetup
Mm-hmm.
from Brianna. If you want to go over to that question, it's kind of a large paragraph. I don't think we have any existing resources, but
oh yeah, hold on, reading it now.
Yep.
Yeah, so in our last month's meetup, and we've done this a couple of times, we've had community spotlights where people have talked about how to build and embed things in with AI. And just what are ways that we could learn more about how to do that and the process that people are going through. I know we have not necessarily shared anything there. I am excited to talk about and maybe even host like a separate type of meetup for that and getting into a little bit more like the advanced custom code or interactive code mode and how do you go from an idea to actually implementing it inside of your Rise course. I don't think we've documented anything yet. We've teased the idea of similar to art school, having like a code school where you could kind of go through that experience. But we don't have anything like official that we've posted at all at this point. So yeah, I would love.
No, but we have, John, I would offer that we have started the process on that, and we are looking at a fall release of some like a mini course, like a coding mini course for Mighty. So there's
Nice.
something that's moving there.
it's definitely an idea that's being actioned. So that's good.
Yep.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. Any other questions that I can address? Otherwise, I'll jump into a demo for all of you who are new to Mighty. All right. Perfect. Well, thanks for everyone else who has joined. Feel free to stick around as we're going to walk through our normal overview of Mighty.
Hey,
And
thanks.
just a reminder that we've got our next meetup September 23rd at the same time, 12:30 Eastern time.
Hey, Pinkster, Heather did have one question on custom blocks. Let me scroll back up to it. Any previews of what you're thinking about for custom blocks?
Oh, for mods, maybe mods for
I
custom
think
blocks.
that's,
Yeah.
I think that's what she means, yeah.
Yeah, I know. And just to pull this out, custom blocks is this guy here that Articulate released recently. And they've got all sorts of pre-built templates, which are super fun. I know a lot of you are excited to see how Mighty's going to follow up with these and things that we could add as advancements to their custom block. We've not done any work effort yet to dig into that. I know a couple of you in MC have posted the idea of with some of these blocks, like let me go ahead and drop this block in. If we go and edit this block and you add in audio or video, being able to just auto play those would be super beneficial. So no work built out there yet on adding that type of functionality. It gets a little tricky from our side. We got to explore how to best do that, especially when there's multiple audios, which you can obviously add into all of these as well, of like how do you prioritize what the autoplay is related to, what autoplay is first, second, third, etc. Which you'll notice that even with our autoplay audio functionality, even across the board, we added it in all situations in which really there's just a singular audio and not multiples. So even like accordions, you can now add multiple audios. And we just still need to figure out the best way to support just handling autoplay audio when there's multiples of those audios in a block. So still something that we're noodling on. Nothing specific at this point, but I would love to continue to hear thoughts from you guys on ideas, mods, things like that that you'd love to see with those custom blocks.
Thanks for going back up to that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's another thing that Sid you're calling out is just being able to deal with mobile responsiveness and how those expand. And right now they kind of almost zoom out as you go to more like a mobile experience. I know one of our team members had recorded a video that talks about kind of walking through a lot of fun features of that. So feel free to check out that video. There are some thoughts that we have in regards to how you could potentially do that. And we hope to really kind of share those more with Articulate because it'd be great to get those embedded into the authoring experience of custom blocks, and being able to kind of introduce breakpoints and things like that. So super excited to just continue that conversation with them and see if there are ways that they can kind of move the needle on that with some of the thoughts and ideas that we in the community have over here. So nice. All right, I'm gonna do a very fast demo because this goes till for 10 more minutes. So again, thanks everyone. For those who are gonna go ahead and leave now, feel free to stick around if you want to learn more about the demo. Again, we've got our next meetup September 23rd. And lastly, all of these features will start to release here over the next week. Desktop is already available and has 2 of the 3 of these new things. So super excited for y'all to start playing with those and sharing thoughts and feedback. Appreciate everyone. I'm going to go ahead and jump into wearing my demo hat and start walking through all the Mighty features that we've got. So for anyone who's new, you heard a lot of information so far. Hopefully it wasn't too far overhead as you're just starting to get your bearings on exactly what Mighty is. So just a real high, quick level. Mighty is a Chrome extension or desktop app now that you can add. And once you're authoring inside of Rise, there's just a lot of great functionality that Mighty adds, from rich text and being able to select any font anywhere to line heights, letter spacings. You can get into some custom code and all sorts of fun features just within the rich text editor. We've got other fun things that you'll see throughout our features where you've got recently used colors. So as you use colors throughout your course, we'll pull those in as well as you're selecting highlight colors or text colors or background colors or button colors. All those areas we'll be able to pull in a fun recently used palette. We also, anytime you see like these magenta colors, like those are your indications that Mighty exists and has some fun functionality inside of your authoring experience. So We've got everything from specific blocks that we've built, which I've kind of shown throughout the meetup today. We've got this whole Mighty block section, and we've got all sorts of blocks that we've built, from a reverse hotspot block, which is kind of like a labeled graphic, just the opposite spin. It doesn't show you where to click. It requires the learner to read a prompt and know where exactly to click on the image. We also have a reflection, which asks an open-ended question to the learner where they could sit there, type out a response, download the reflection, or it could even report to your LMS. We also have transitions, but you saw me leverage one of those. It just adds kind of a fun transition with all sorts of customizations to those. We've got, I'm going to jump over the interactive HTML block for a second. The image in comparison block, this allows you to have two images overlaid, and then you can kind of do this like juxtaposition almost, where you like reveal more or less of an image, again allowing you to like compare two images from a learner's perspective. And then last, but really honestly the most powerful, is that interactive HTML block, where you can really build up any custom code. You can drop in a zip into this section here, and that zip could be whatever you want. You could either custom build something yourself or use something like a ChatGPT or Claude, some sort of AI tool to build anything you want. So right here is an example of like a puzzle game where you can just drop in a bunch of puzzle pieces, give the learner a little bit of a break from the content that you're going through, and then throw up more information about your course, / even do knowledge checks and do a fun leaderboard. Like there's all sorts of cool things that you can do in this section. It's really anything that you want to dream up, you could build. And you're not restricted to importing in storyline components. You could actually literally build anything HTML based, and then that would just go right here on your course inside of your lesson, and it's fully responsive and has all sorts of great reporting, as well as the ability to prevent you going on with the continue buttons. So all sorts of fun functionality that's built into this block here. Again, a little speedy, high level walking through all the things. The next set of features that we've got beyond blocks are mods that we've built. So mods are considered any advanced functionality that you can do with an existing Rise block. So you'll notice that as we add blocks to our course, on the right-hand side, you're going to notice this mod menu, and this adds, as an example here, if you were to have audio inside of this paragraph block, you could autoplay that audio or even prevent forward seeking of that audio. You could do all sorts of customizations with this is like a notes block, which if you're familiar with Rise, this is what you would experience with the notes block itself. And this is what it looks like with all the customizations that are built on top of that. So you can change background colors and icons and reposition icons and do all sorts of fun things there. And really the list just goes on and on for extra configurations that Mighty's added into existing Rise blocks. So you'll see here, again, that Mighty magenta color pops up, indicator that Mighty's kind of had its fingerprints on it. And then as you click into the sub menu, there's the mod indicator to let you know which of these blocks have mods. So I'm not going to walk through all of these mods because again, there's tons of them. But as you drop in those blocks, you've got the ability to modify the whole mod for those, changing up line spacing, bullet sizes, just kind of tightening up all of this here as an example with the checklist block. So lots of functionality that you can do. So we've covered blocks, we've covered mods, and then I, during the meetup, walked through a bunch of power-ups with a custom code. And right now, this looks a little bit different for you, but soon you'll see this new version with code snippets. But this is your ability to add any sort of custom code on top of your course, either be block specific or lesson specific, or even just general course functionality changes that you want to make. We also have the ability to override your published course title. So if you organize this in a way that makes sense inside of Rise, inside of your folder structures, but your learners or your reviewers need to see a different title, because maybe you've organized this course with it being, you know, a beta 1, and then your reviewers, this is just like the normal course. So you could certainly override that with whatever you want to do. You get a fun live preview of what that looks like, as well as how that would show up inside of the sub menus, which actually looks like this one has it turned off. So that's that fun power up, changing the title. The web publish settings, if you ever want to publish to web, but you want to hide the cover page, this is how you'd be able to do that. That option really only exists right now when you go to publish your course for an LMS. You've got the ability to hide the cover page, but now you can also do that for web. The way that publishing works is that we actually allow Rise to publish your course fully. And then from there, what we do is we take that published course, we add in all of the Mighty functionality into that course, into that zip file that you get and either upload to your LMS or put onto your web server. And it just has all the Mighty functionality baked into it. So you really are the only one who needs to have the Mighty extension installed. Anyone who's reviewing your course in Review 360 or from the publishing perspective, they just have full access to everything that you've done. So it's really just you as the author that needs access to that Chrome extension or the Mighty Desktop app. Trying to think of anything else that I haven't covered. You'll notice that throughout authoring, there's all sorts of other fun things that we've added. Inside of a lesson, you have the ability to quick sort blocks. So if I want to just grab this series of blocks here, and I need to move it down to right above this like leadership section, you could certainly do that by just grabbing and dragging it down. We've got right after this embed, we can drop that block there. And you'll see it just immediately drops it in, moved it down for you. You don't have to click these side arrows over and over and over again to get things to move down. You don't have to create block templates to get things to move down. You can literally just drag and drop and move them, which is great. Saves tons of time. If you get into the weird custom code things, if you ever right click on these, that's how you can get block IDs. That's another fun little secret to doing anything in that power up menu custom code world. We also have the quick ability to jump back and forth between different lessons. So you don't have to always go back to the cover page, go back into the other lesson. This is great, especially for us who are like going through, just double checking all of our courses or our lessons real quick. You don't like, it'll show you what lesson you're on. So you don't have to go back to this main list and like try to remember, okay, was I on the before or demo or after? It's all just right there for you. You can just quickly jump to the next one as you're just jumping from lesson to lesson to lesson to lesson. So that really helps for just expediting, again, your authoring experience and getting content out there. I'm sure I'm missing some other features, but I think broadly that covers a lot of it. If you ever want to learn more about any of this, this is our Mighty Assistant. You can go and find out more. A lot of info that I talked about in the Mighty community. Great space for you to just collaborate with other Mighty users, see what people are up to. We also have our Help Center. Help Center has tons of documentation in here about all sorts of different features that we've got. We've got our YouTube video, which has a ton of videos of me walking through features or walking through general, like how to do fun, advanced custom things. We also have all of our other Mighty Meetups here as a playlist. There's a lot of great content in previous Mighty Meetups, especially when it comes to generating content via AI. So those are certainly great to watch. And I think that really covers it. So appreciate everyone joining today. Again, our next meetup that we'll do is September 23rd. And we'll be back most likely to our normal scheduled agenda where we'll have a community spotlight. Community members can jump in, share things that they're doing with Mighty, and walk through all the fun new features that we've got going on next month. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate your time today. I'll get you back to work, and I'll see you next time.